Hi everyone, my name is Laverne and I'm here to talk a little bit about Juneteenth. Juneteenth is a holiday that commemorates the end of slavery. Think Independence Day for African Americans. I'm grateful that MarkLogic recognizes this holiday. And while I do celebrate it, I also acknowledge that we have still so much more work to do. While slavery no longer exists in America, minorities still experience racism in the form of microaggressions and biases almost every day. In honor of Juneteenth, we ask that you ask yourself, what would you think and how would you feel if you experienced these same microaggressions and biases that minorities experience? Take a moment, think about it, and ask yourself that question. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Linda, and for Juneteenth, we are trying to explain how it feels to be in the shoes of a minority. And being a minority, I just wanted to share a few months ago that I was at a fast food restaurant and somebody drove by and basically told me for no reason whatsoever that I should just go back to China. And I was very taken aback, and I was surprisingly super upset by that. So when I got to the drive-thru window, I asked the person if this happened a lot at this restaurant, and he said it actually did. And being in Silicon Valley, I was just felt very, very sad about it. I can't tell you, I told my kids, and I just thought, every day people endure this. It hasn't happened to me for quite a while, but being, judged, just by the color of your skin or the way you look in a way that was meant to be demeaning was a terrible feeling. And I hope everybody that has never experienced it doesn't have to experience it, but I do hope everybody can be a better person and really, really try to imagine that it feels terrible. So please, let's all do better, be more sympathetic and empathetic, and live our lives in a positive manner. We can all make a difference. Thank you.
Unfortunately, in my lifetime, I've been in a number of situations where my friends of color of different nationalities were called derogatory names or told to go back to where they came from. And at the time, it made me quite defensive for my friends because they too were Americans just like I am. But it also made me disappointed in the fact that my fellow Americans who were saying these things may have lived in a bubble where they never really encountered people of different nationalities or spoke different languages. If that ever happened to me, it certainly would make me very angry as well. But I'd also be comforted in knowing that my friends would come to my support in a moment's notice.
Hi, my name is Shima. I'm going to take some time to talk about my parents that migrated here in the mid-60s. Shortly thereafter, when they settled and thought about having a family, the Fair Housing Act was passed shortly after Martin Luther King's assassination. And they were just trying to achieve the American dream as newly immigrants to California. And at that time, they realized, due to their skin tone and their appearance, which was my mom being a little bit darker and my dad physically looking different than his American peers, had a beard, he had a turban, faced a lot of discrimination towards their physical appearance, being treated as second-class citizens when it came to purchasing a home. It seemed that some areas were very segregated, and they were discriminated into certain neighborhoods that they were trying to get into. And they were discriminated in the workplace based on their skin tone or their physical appearance, as I mentioned about my dad not fitting in, looking different. And for him to assimilate, my dad needed to shave his beard and remove his turban to make his peers and fellow Americans feel more comfortable, and also just to fit in. My mom was on the darker side, and she definitely felt discrimination in the workplace, treated as a second-class citizen when it came to job opportunities or progressing into higher positions. And you would think 50 plus years now, we would have moved forward and we'd see a lot of progressive change, which unfortunately I don't think is happening. I think we're taking a few steps back, and I'm hoping we as humans can look at each other as individuals rather than judging each other based on our appearance, our skin tone, our sexual preference, or even our gender.
Hi, my name is Trin. My best friend growing up was mixed race, and she was darker than me. We used to shop a lot, go in and out of stores, try stuff on, spend what little money we had. And she told me a couple years ago that she always made it a point to ask for and keep receipts, just in case someone confronted her about stealing something. And then it hit me. I had the privilege of not having that fear. I think if somebody followed me around in a store and accused me of stealing something because of the color of my skin, I'd feel angry and embarrassed and ashamed. Ashamed, even though I had nothing to be ashamed of.
Hi, my name is Melissa Circle. I'm honored today to answer the question, what would you do if you were approached by a complete stranger, called names based on the color of your skin, and told to go back where you came from? Well, first of all, I've never experienced anything like that before. I have no idea what I would do. I think I'd be extremely scared and very sad that this person wouldn't want to get to know me or understand the positivity I bring to the world. I also look at it from the perspective of being a mom, and I think that I would feel absolutely heartbroken if I had to explain to my children that this type of hate just exists all over the fact that someone's skin is a certain color, which is completely out of their control. And while the hateful commentary and these negative things are 100% in control of the person saying them. And I learned that firsthand from my mom. My grandfather was a police officer in Denver, Colorado during the race riots in the 1960s. And he was actually in a police shootout with a member of the Black Panthers. And while very different than the George Floyd situation, it still very much influenced the dialogue and the conversations inside of my mom's home. And at a very young age, she made a choice that was not her belief system, and she was not going to raise her children that way. And so my sister and I very much grew up in a household where acceptance was very important of other people. We had a lot of access to people with different backgrounds and from different cultures, so that we could understand that, we're all just, the same. And I know that I'm not perfect, but I'm making the same choice. I'm making a choice to learn and to understand and to listen to those people who have experienced similar situations to the one that was presented today. And I'm making a commitment to my children to bring them up in a household with similar values and viewpoints, and to continue making strides forward to just be better. And I think that it's the only way that we can make a change is we start with empathy. We understand how hurtful and painful this type of situation must be for someone else. And then we do our best to understand where we're gapped, and then make changes inside of our homes that hopefully go out into the world, and that the generations that are coming behind us are doing things differently.
The purpose of this exercise is not to give you a warm and fuzzy feeling, but to instead proverbially walk in someone else's shoes so that you can understand their challenges, experiences, and thoughts as they relate to racism. How do you do that? With empathy. But empathy requires sacrifice. You have to sacrifice your own feelings and your own thoughts to genuinely put yourself in someone else's shoes. It's the only way that we're going to be able to create positive change in this world of ours. And isn't this something that we all want?